Welcome to the Medium Rare Podcast, WWE Part 3. With, whoops. I'm your host, Brett Owens. I'm here with three WWE experts. Sahil actually was on the show, and then he was like, do I need to be on here? Because I didn't really say anything last week. So he's still here, but we replaced him with my buddy Matt that came. Matt Kohler is here.
Howdy.
He's the director of Batman Master of Fear. He is, me and him are working together on that. And
yes, sir.
To my left is Daniel Keegan and
Hello.
Tucker Moss.
Hello again.
All right. So we're going to get into it. What's today's era?
So we're going to jump right back in where we left off on the last time. So we're going to start with the Ruthless Aggression era.
2003?
2002 through 2008. So it's kind of like the peak of, I guess, a lot of stars that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
That's when like WCW stars came to WWE.
That's
like
what we
right
talked about last
right
week.
after that. Yeah.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is coming right into that era. So
yeah, this is a last minute change with Matt. So Matt's just kind of jumping in. Matt knows a lot. Yeah, Matt knows a lot. So, okay, you had something you were going to talk about, the Red Dead stuff.
Oh, I just wanted to mention before, because I know the game's been out, so a lot of people are playing it.
We talked about it on filler, but I can't remember.
But my main thing is with Red Dead Online, I don't know how many people have been playing it, but the people that play, like...
Dude, you can't, if you see anybody on Red Dead
They
Online,
shoot you in the back of the
will
head.
die.
You die.
You
like,
die
I understand,
immediately.
like, GTA, whenever you play it, you know, people mess with you, but you can kind of get away fast.
Yeah.
You have a horse.
Yeah.
So you're, like, trying to gallop away, and next thing you know, you're getting shot in the back of the head when you're trying to run away.
My favorite thing is when you're, like, you're just in a bar, and all of a sudden somebody just lassos your
and then
feet.
pulls you.
You're just, all of a sudden, just dragging on the ground.
You can't break out
limp.
fast enough.
No.
They just put you on the horse, and then...
Yeah.
Or they just get on their horse with you lassoed, and they're just dragging you through the street until you die.
You were having trouble trying to get into the studio.
Yeah, so this is the first time I've been here. So I got your text saying it was D154. So I was like, oh, D building, sweet, there it is.
Yeah.
So I was standing, it's raining out, it's cold. I was standing under the awning, just waiting for someone to like, just come
Help
open
me.
the door. Yeah, come open
Help
the door.
me.
And this older guy, super nice because he parked and he had his groceries. He comes up, he's like, oh, you want to come in? I was like, I mean, I don't live here. I was just waiting for some people to come let me in.
That's very honest.
That
I don't live here.
Yeah, I'm straight up. I'm an honest
I'm here
person.
just to rob people.
Yeah, and he's like, no, come on in. It's cold and it's raining outside. I was like, are you sure? He's like,
That's
yeah,
your
no.
first mistake, old man.
Yeah. He's like, no, it's fine. He's like, come on in. If you rob someone, it's not going to be my fault. I was like,
Actually,
I think
yes,
I think it would be.
You let me in.
I was stuck out of the building, and now I'm in with free reign.
So easy.
Yeah.
Jeez. Well, anyway, we're going to cut it short and get right into the info because we have a lot.
Yeah, and just kind of push for time.
If y'all know, we're pushed for time, and if y'all know Tucker, he does not care because he has...
I got a lot. There's a lot to...
There's a lot
so
to
There's a
go
lot.
through there.
There's a lot we can't, like...
Can't miss anything.
Can't
skip
miss
it.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, this is actually when I got back into wrestling.
Yeah,
so
me too.
I left around 98. I was a WCW fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
So I watched my first match I remember was Goldberg Hogan for the World Championship. And then I remember watching the DDP versus Goldberg Halloween Havoc 98 match that was aired live because it was on pay-per-view and it blacked out during that time.
Mm-hmm.
So I came back to Raw because Goldberg.
I loved Goldberg. I dressed as
Yeah.
Goldberg for Halloween.
Yeah, Goldberg is pretty cool. I mean,
I just liked him because he was so big.
He
I
just
wanted
spears
to be
people,
him.
and like he doesn't care when he spears him. He just
does it.
I mean, like him spearing Nunzio in the Royal Rumble. Just watch that video; it's glorious.
Oh, yeah, hitting those little guys, yeah.
Yeah, he literally just broke
Just-
him in
yeah.
half.
That's like Stone Cold Stunners, too. He would just be talking, and the next thing you know, you're getting stunned, and you do the little... fly in there. McMahon was very good at getting the stunner and then
No,
doing
I mean,
his face.
everyone's seen the Rock videos, right? Where
Oh my gosh,
It's just
yeah.
repeated stunner after stunner after stunner.
Oh, it's the best.
Never saw it coming.
Nope.
Okay, so from that era, like we were talking about WCW coming into this, so we're going to start with the Ruthless Aggression era, and that starts after they started their first, like, draft. So they introduced the draft to
I
split.
loved the draft.
Yeah, they
too.
split between
a
Raw
cool
and
concept.
SmackDown. I loved it too because they got rid of it in like 2011 or something. And they brought it back recently for a little
Oh
bit.
gosh.
But it's like, I don't know, I loved it because it made the show specific. So that was the whole point of it. They would put stars on certain shows and they would have show specific pay-per-views.
Yeah.
Besides like Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series.
Yeah,
I
the
think were
big
the
four.
four.
Yeah.
Those four were the ones everyone came on, and they did. I mean, even now, like it's still kind of split like that. But one of the stars from the beginning of the Ruthless Aggression era is Brock Lesnar. So he really announced himself as property of SmackDown, which that could have. Pretty sure that's just part of the bit.
Dude, he's got gorilla arms. His
He's
arms
very
go
scary.
down to his knees.
He's
His
very
arms
scary.
are so long.
They're basically like thighs on his.
It
Yeah,
really is
it's-
two
it's
thighs
legs.
on his shoulders.
He has really, really thin legs too.
Yeah.
He
Like
also
his
has-
He's
calves.
still, I mean, compared to his body, his
Yeah.
calves are probably still bigger than all of ours.
Oh, no, definitely.
Just compared to the rest of his body.
His proportions are very off.
He
Yeah.
also has a weird stomach. It's like abs but fat.
Yeah.
It's just no stomach. It's just ab.
Well, when you take steroids, like your guts and stuff grow too, so your stomach will
Allegedly.
protrude
yeah.
out a lot.
It's never been confirmed.
Yeah. But he probably doesn't take steroids.
No.
Oh yeah,
there you
HGH.
go.
My bad.
Oh. So
See,
he's,
man?
he's he's
See,
never
look,
So you
Sahil-
had something to
Sahil, you could have been on the
been
show.
right here.
Yeah. You want to come in?
You tag him out. Come on. Some tag team stuff.
Oh yeah, we
Reach
could
for
do
it. But okay,
Hot
so
tag.
with Brock Lesnar, when he was specifically put on SmackDown by his orders, quote unquote, it's probably just part of the show. He created the World Heavyweight Championships. That was when the World Heavyweight Championship was first introduced. And additionally, both Raw and SmackDown. Well, I mentioned this. I don't know why. We talked about it. Not the shows, but
Oh, did a little blooper
did
there.
a little blooper on
Little
that
blooper
one.
on that one.
So basically, after Brock Lesnar really came into being, he became the new face in a way. Even though
I never
I
liked Brock
I never
Lesnar.
liked him either.
Yeah.
But
Brock
so
Lesnar's a dick.
I thought he was
Yeah, he's just-
boring.
Allegedly.
I just don't like him.
Allegedly.
I just don't like him. I just never really have.
Yeah.
But so after he kind of became the face, Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock both left in like 2003 and 2004 respectively.
Okay.
After Lesnar became the World Heavyweight Champion, then you had Randy Orton also kind of poke his way up into being real big, and he became the youngest World Heavyweight Champion at the time.
Yep.
Triple H would also be featured prominently during this time. He won several of his 14 World Championships. Then,
Yep.
as
quick.
would 14. Well, I mean, John Cena has 15,
16.
16.
He's
Just
tied-
he
tied.
got
Yeah,
the-
he
tied with
beat
Flair.
AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble, right?
Yeah, in
Yeah.
2017.
Yep.
I remember watching that. I watched that one.
I watched that. I was pissed. I'm a huge AJ Styles
I like
fan.
AJ Styles. We'll get into John Cena. That's my
John Cena.
John Cena is mine. Then now everyone goes, John Cena sucks.
Yeah.
With the
Half-
song.
It
It makes
depends on the age range. Yeah.
you don't even know about
Yeah.
him.
I feel like he's gotten off of his cycle or something because I saw him in a commercial recently and he didn't. I mean, he's still huge, but he doesn't look as
He's a lot
big
leaner.
as he was. Yeah.
Yeah. He's got
But-
hair.
Yeah.
That bothers
that
me.
hair is weird.
It bothers
dude.
me.
The military cut.
The military. I'm used to the military cut.
Yeah,
Seeing
he
him
now
with
has
like
long hair.
coiffed white guy hair is. Just
Oh yeah, because it is kind of
weird.
like swooped in the front a little
Well,
bit.
Yeah,
Like
it's weird.
It's also kind of receding hairline sometimes, so it's like
he's getting up there. He's in his late 30s,
yeah.
maybe even
And
early.
he
I
was
think probably
dating
late
Nikki
30s.
Bella, so there's that too.
they broke up.
Allegedly.
Yes, allegedly. Come on, Brett.
Okay, sorry.
But Undertaker was also getting well known around this time for his WrestleMania streak. Not losing. Up until one of our freaking
damn
hate
it,
that
Brock
guy,
Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
There we go.
Yeah. Full circle. Back to Lesnar.
Was it Brock Lesnar or what?
It
Brock
was
Lesnar beat him like
WrestleMania
2 or 3
30.
years ago.
That was when Brian
I
won that
thought it
Mania.
was. Didn't he get beat by Shawn Michaels?
No,
too?
Mm-mm. He
that
re-
wasn't a WrestleMania.
Yeah,
He
no,
Undertaker
never mind.
beat
I'm
him
thinking of-
twice. He
I'm
also
thinking of
beat
a Ric
Triple
Flair.
H
Yeah, he
Okay.
retired Michaels. He put his.
and should have retired Triple H.
Got
Yeah.
you.
Mhm.
Because I was just thinking about when he was going, I'm sorry, in the ring.
That
But
was-
it
That's
was
Ric
Ric
Flair.
Flair. Yeah, it was
That
Ric
one.
Flair.
I
That
cried.
One, that'll,
That gets me on.
break
That
your
was me
heart.
like 12 years old. I'm like crying. I've never cried before,
Let
and then I
me
was
help.
like, "What is this?"
This is Shakespeare.
Yeah, it really, dude. These are just big Shakespearean act, like just big guys who like to perform.
Mhm.
It's beautiful.
And so some other real big names at the time, like Rey Mysterio, Kurt Angle was very big at this time. Edge, Eddie
I
Guerrero,
loved
Chris
Edge.
Benoit.
Edge. Yep.
Chris
Ooh.
Benoit.
Chris Benoit.
Uh-oh.
That's no
Randy-
one knows who that name is.
Randy Orton, JBL. JBL was one of my favorite
Oh,
heels.
the
I can't
best.
stand him, but he was one of my favorite heels with him and John
But that's
Cena.
the point. Yeah, that means he did his
Batista.
job.
Yeah.
Big Dave.
Batista
Yep.
too.
Batista's
And then,
my dad.
Rob, yeah, it really is. I think I was. Yeah, he is.
He
The
was
guy that was on the
last
show.
week? Yeah.
That was Batista. Man, he's changed a lot.
Yeah, he's got a little
A
smaller.
little thin.
Yeah,
He took some height off too.
He took about 3 feet off of his height.
So I just wanted to touch on Eddie Guerrero was a big part of this era, and he hailed rest in peace Eddie Guerrero, but he hailed from the Guerrero family, which Chavo Guerrero was another wrestler around the time. He was kind of a heel.
The best entrance music of all time. The ooh Chavo. It's my favorite.
Yeah, but he gained a large fan base on SmackDown from 2003. And which led to rapid increase of his popularity, promoting him to main event status. And he won his first world championship, the WWE Championship, at No Way Out in 2004 after he beat Brock Lesnar. Again, circling back around.
Yeah.
Brock Lesnar again.
He did have some help.
Is this the
I
Brock
think
Lesnar show?
It might actually change the
Allegedly?
title. Part 3, Brock Lesnar.
Oh gosh, maybe.
I think he did have some help with Goldberg in that match. I think that was when
yeah.
Goldberg and Lesnar were really feuding,
Yeah.
and it just so happened that Eddie was the beneficiary of Goldberg getting involved with that, because I think Goldberg was sitting front row or something, and
Just watching.
Yeah, you
and
know,
then he speared him.
and then he
He speared him.
You got tickets.
But so after he won his title, it was like a year later, he ended up passing away.
Yep.
And so through him passing away because of his drug addiction, the WWE installed the WWE Wellness, all their policies and stuff.
Yeah.
And it really
only
affected.
took them like 30 years of like drug abuse and people really hurting themselves a lot.
Yeah, they were like, oh,
for
wait,
hold on.
our champion just died?
Yeah.
we should do
We
something.
should
about
do
that.
something.
Yeah,
We should
yeah.
really do something
Yeah,
about
it's
this.
not like they've been
Sec, you
abusing
know that-
drugs for 30 years.
You know the thing we've been doing? Maybe we should, actually help him out.
Yeah, yeah.
So after he passed away, they started that, but it also affected Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was his really close friend outside, because they're real people. They're not their characters
What?
the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's a shock to
thought
some people
Undertaker
watching, some
was
people
real.
listening and watching.
Kayfabe is not real.
Yeah.
I don't understand this.
Wait, you mean the Demon Kane is not mayor?
Oh no, he's really in mayor.
Oh, I
He's
know
in
he
his
is.
suit.
But I
We
thought-
talked about
I
that
thought
last-
he always had the mask on.
He does.
We talked about that
You
last
go in his
week.
office, he's got his mask on with the long hair, just signing papers. And he just choke slams politicians through tables.
I mean,
Yes.
it'd be better than what we have right now.
Heyo. But so Rey Mysterio, after all this situation, he actually ended up winning the Royal Rumble and then became the WWE Heavyweight Champion because of all this situation. So they kind of helped him out because of the situation that had happened with his friend Eddie Guerrero.
He started at 1 that year, I think, in the Rumble.
Yeah,
I think it's the longest.
yeah.
He was in the Rumble for like the longest.
he was like one or two,
two,
something
yeah.
like that.
102 minutes or
It was
something.
something crazy.
I thought Ric Flair. No, he broke Ric Flair's Royal
Who
Rumble
had
92 run.
Who had the record before that?
Ric Flair.
It was
He had
Ric Flair?
The 60-minute run.
Yeah.
Or
was
for
it-
the?
I thought it was-
It was for the title.
No, was that the one when he fought the British Bulldog at the end there? There was just them two left in that one. Do you remember?
Well, all I know is Ric Flair lasted a long time
Yeah.
in the 92 Rumble
Okay.
because JB always brought it up in every Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
JBL.
Now, I know I did mention some of the bigger wrestlers, but some of the two biggest ones of the Ruthless Aggression era were, of course, which the name Ruthless Aggression plays a big part in, is John Cena and Batista. So upon Cena's debut, he proved popular because of the Doctor of Thugonomics, white rapper, whole gimmick, which is kind of lame, which I'm glad that he kind of went away from that in the future when he was still real popular. He still has his own music, which is funny. I think he's one of the very few wrestlers that it's his music is his actual entrance song.
When I was talking about last week, when I was talking about Vince McMahon saying the N-word on national television, I think it was John Cena and it wasn't Shelton Benjamin that he said it to.
It may have been
he was
John
talking
Cena.
to John Cena about his music and stuff, and he ends up saying.
Well, I
the
think you're
N-word.
right. I think you're right.
Yeah, so a little correction on last week's episode.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah, never would get away with that
wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think that's just the early 2000s
now. Wow.
when all this was going
Well,
on.
then-
Yeah.
But
Now you got all these things to say.
Yeah,
huh?
right?
Oh my gosh.
Last
I'm
week
gonna-
you
I'm
didn't
gonna
have
sit
nothing
this
to
one
say.
out.
Do you really just want to come in here?
okay, but John Cena had his first championship match against Brock Lesnar in 2003. And before that, like the whole Ruthless Aggression thing with Kurt Angle, that was like the big set up because whenever he I think Kurt Angle had an open invitation.
Yeah.
And he was the prototype, I think, at the time.
Yep.
John Cena. He wasn't John Cena. He was the prototype.
Mhm.
So he came out and was something trying to provoke him, and he was like, "Why do you want to fight me?" He's like, "Ruthless aggression," and then he just started beating the
Slapped
crap
the
out of him.
shit out of him.
Really slapping.
Yeah.
You think it's really just
Yeah.
there's not really punches.
Did he
But-
take his shirt off?
He came out to the ring.
Well, he had
shirtless.
just it was this weird red spandex shorts. That's what he wore
Yeah.
at first.
Yeah.
His
Oh
Not
yeah,
John-
John
before the
Cena.
jean
he was
shorts,
a
yeah.
That was
prototype.
before,
I always-
before
I-
the jean
I-
shorts came.
I
in.
always love when wrestlers they themselves take their own shirt or suit off and then go beat someone up. It's like, do you really need your suit off to beat them?
Yeah,
up?
I know.
So John Cena's getting ready to fight. He's like, wait.
This would have really
Then he got-
hindered me.
Now I can kick this
Throw it
Yeah,
in the crowd.
this would have really hindered me from beating the crap out of you. I got to
It's
get
very
rid of this.
tight.
Let me
tight
get
on
these
me.
wristbands off too. Throw those out in the
Headband.
Oh, were they?
He has the Rock came back and he and Cena did something in the ring one night, and I don't know if it was during Raw or if it was post Raw, but the Rock was cutting a promo and he straight up looked at Cena because Cena's arms are
Yeah.
huge, and he goes,
Oh, yeah, they
he's
were-
like, admit it, that is a headband
That
on your
is
arm.
not-
Yeah.
And John was like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
Rock's like, Jesus,
That's right.
Your
Yeah. Well,
head
he
is-
had
Which
four
Rock
of them.
cannot talk anymore.
Yeah.
Just
That's true.
I
But
mean,
but John Cena, he had one here, one here, one here.
Yeah, the one on
Two
his
on wrist,
bicep
two on the
was,
bicep.
was a head. Yeah, was a
Yeah,
headband.
yeah.
Got some big arms.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did, man. Or he
But-
does.
Yeah, he still wrestles
He's
every
still
now
huge.
and then. So,
Yeah.
but he also had a really big feud with the Undertaker too,
Mhm.
which is kind of
Mm.
when you come to personalities, when you have this dark character as the Undertaker, and then you got John Cena coming down fighting the Undertaker.
well, was it American Badass still for Undertaker? Or
I think he had transitioned.
He
back
may have
to,
been. I think American
think-
Badass was 2002 ish.
Oh,
okay.
So it's still
So,
kind of
yeah.
he was coming out on a bike, so it's
Okay,
still
this
still got
Still
the
the
thug,
same thing.
thugonomics, but he's this one is more rock. And
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
like
Rock and
it's like
roll.
Thugonomics versus Limp Bizkit.
Yeah.
a little
That's
bit.
it,
Yeah, I can see that.
I mean, we were talking about Limp Bizkit in the last episode.
But John Cena would actually get his biggest break when he fought JBL. Yeah, I think it was 2004.
I mean, honestly, Limp Bizkit's kind of the hero of the WWE if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong.
Well, I thought Motorhead would be.
Motorhead's up there.
I mean,
Motorhead's
Motorhead
up
makes
there.
Triple H's career. I feel like.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
But no, so when he won the title at WrestleMania 21 against JBL, that really his first title set him up, and he would go on to win 15 more after that. And he literally became the most he was the transcending star of this that generation. Not Hulk Hogan and who
Stone
is it?
Cold?
Stone Cold Steve Austin, Hulk Hogan, those generational stars. He was the next one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But then another really big star at the time was also Batista. So you have John Cena that was mainly on Raw, and then you would have Batista as on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So Batista was very similar to John Cena when it comes to popularity. He won the 2005 Royal Rumble and then the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania 21, just like John Cena did.
Batista was my favorite.
Yeah, he won against Triple H. So we got two rising stars. Batista, which he would go on to be just.
If you
Literally
come out
one-
and you imitate the fact that you've got a Gatling gun at the top of your
You
running
win.
down to the
You win
ring,
the
running down
match.
the
You
ring.
won.
You won my heart. That's
Yeah, you
for
can't,
sure.
but you can't do that anymore. There's no pyro.
I know. I
now he
know.
does it.
Gosh.
Yeah, it would be nothing.
That's like Lesnar comes out and he does. God damn, Lesnar again. He comes out and he does his and nothing happens.
Nothing
It's
happens. It's just him
just doesn't-
screaming.
Yeah, it just doesn't look as well.
No.
No.
It's not
But
the same.
so after Batista won that title, he actually ended up getting hurt and would end up missing the next WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
But then he would come back the following one after he became champion again and would defend it against The Undertaker. And that would be one of the most incredible matches of the time. I think it was 2007, 2008. That match against Undertaker at WrestleMania. I mean, two of the best wrestlers of that generation, or more of the Ruthless Aggression era or Attitude era, that whole just the two of them fighting, because Undertaker's been around literally since the new generation. So he's been around for
91
Yeah.
when he
Yeah.
debuted.
he's been around forever. So you had this cross era fighting that just one of the most classic matches to ever happen. And then actually Cena and Batista, though they were in the league. They were in. I'm not thinking football or something. They were both in the WWE at the same time. They never actually fought each other until 2008. So they were in wrestling for 3+ years, 4 years, and they didn't fight each other until SummerSlam of 2008, which
Yeah.
Batista ended up winning.
That was
The
pretty
first time
nice
they
about the
fought.
draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I
It
mean,
split it.
I miss that so much.
I do
Where
too.
It made you want to watch both.
Yeah.
Because instead of having all the stars on both shows,
Mhm.
just kind of you don't know who's going to be on each week.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, Batista, you can't miss Batista. Oh, John Cena, you can't miss John
Yeah.
Cena. And Triple H, oh, can't miss Triple H.
And there was also matches worthy of seeing that you wanted to. I mean, there's so many times now where it's just like I've seen this 50 times.
Mhm.
I mean, I watched TNA and I can't tell you how many times I saw AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe. I love those two.
Senior Joe.
And
Senior Joe, yeah.
But
Scott
I mean,
Steiner.
I've seen it, at least 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. But there's another like really big star at the time, which is kind of a love-hate relationship with most fans, CM Punk. So CM Punk during this time, he was also he came into the scene in 2006. He wrestled his first main roster match
The
at
face
Survivor
of
Series.
Pepsi.
Yeah. Yeah. He actually his first match he was with Team DX in a
Survivor Series.
they fought against Team Rated RKO
Oh yeah.
in Survivor Series. And
That wasn't
in-
much of a match.
Yeah,
It was
it's
a
literally clean sweep.
Yeah,
I think
it was
like
five- yeah.
5-0.
Yeah.
So, and then his main, when he really got his first push was in Money in the Bank in 2008.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Whenever he won that, he actually cashed it in on like one of the episodes like of Raw. Like I think literally the next night it may have been. I can't remember like if that really what it was. But he cashed it on Edge and beat Edge, which of course. I like Money in the Bank only because it's a good way to transition a title whenever you want to, because you can just say they can just like the wrestler comes in, they fight, they get beat up, they lose, and then you just here comes sneaking in with the
Yeah.
he's like
Yep.
yes, and then
Yeah.
just goes and wins it real fast.
And it's a good
Yeah.
way if storylines just aren't working that you can just
Yeah.
be like, oh,
'Cause you
we're going to
create-
hit reset
let's-
right now.
Right.
Let's
Yep.
start a
Hit a
reset and
reset
create
button.
a new feud between Edge and CM Punk. Because
Mhm.
whenever which those that don't know, which I assume most people probably know, if you lose a title, you automatically get a rematch.
Mhm.
What about the
Unless you're one of the 50 people like Goldberg.
Yeah, well, it's yeah.
What
For,
about
for story purposes, they don't get it. When it needs to not make sense, it's out. It's out the
what
window.
about wasn't there a feud between the Hardy brothers and Edge and because of Lita and all that stuff?
Yeah.
There's a
Oh,
lot
that
of
was-
woman
Yeah.
drama.
Was that in the 90s
You
or was
screwed
that?
No, that was in the
That's
2000s.
2000s.
Yeah, because that
being-
actually happened, and then they
Yeah.
just used it
Yeah.
as material.
Oh, they-
Well, Matt-
so sad.
Or like how Eddie Guerrero faked a heart attack like on
Yeah.
a ladder. And
yeah.
I remember watching that match and everyone was like,
I hope he's
pissed
okay.
off. Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
not.
yeah.
Spoiler alert. He's not. No, but Lita, like she cheated on Matt with Edge, right? And
Yeah,
then-
Matt had gotten released, I think it was, because he was spiraling or starting to spiral
What?
with alcohol and pills.
Yeah.
And then Lita and Edge were on Raw together, and they were traveling with each other just because they had known each other for all those years
Mhm.
with the Hardy Boys versus Edge and Christian and all that stuff.
Bing,
and then,
bang, boom.
yeah, just whatever happened.
God, we just
so-
sound like a bunch of white girls talking about a soap opera. but
Drama,
that's just-
well, drama.
And then they had live sex in the ring.
Oh, that was
Oh,
the
yeah.
live sex celebration
Oh.
that Cena ruined. He came out, Edge ran away.
Yeah, there was a big feud between Edge and Cena there for a while
That-
for the WWE
That's
Championship.
I want that.
I
back.
love.
I want
that.
this. I want
That
that
was my
back.
favorite thing.
That
when
I
was young.
think like so Edge was great, and then I think it was his, and just my personal opinion, but his feud with Cena, because they swapped the WWE title back and forth like
Yeah.
4 or 5 times.
They
Pretty-
got their
Wild.
numbers up.
yeah,
a lot.
pretty yeah.
Oh, yeah.
There's a little boost.
They're trying to jack them
8
up.
times,
Yeah.
9 times, 10 times.
Yeah,
Just come on, you give it to me.
Yeah, yeah,
Back
yeah.
and forth.
But I think that feud with Cena really cemented Edge, and again, just my opinion,
Mm-hmm.
as a bona fide
As a
main
singles
eventer.
competitor
Yes,
too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
Edge and Christian were really good as a
Yeah.
tag team because they won the title at least a couple
bunch of times, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean that was good for Edge when it came to just a singles competitor
Mhm.
because he was.
Mhm.
I mean I just when
He was
you hear
great
his
on the
music come
mic,
on,
too. Oh, he was.
it gives me chills. Just
On
'cause
the
that was me as like
stage.
Oh my
that's
God.
like me like 12, 11 years old like
Oh,
really into wrestling.
That
and I
song,
was
yeah,
like,
it really kind of brings together all the nostalgia.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even CM Punk's CM Punk's song. That's one thing that a lot of people don't give enough credit to the music for all the wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, it's got to make
Give
sense.
what's the guy from Emperor's New Groove?
Oh,
He's like-
yeah. yeah, yeah.
That's literally me listening when Edge's music comes on, CM Punk's music comes on. Because
That's
CM
good
Punk's
stuff.
was Kill Switch Engage, and I like Kill Switch Engage.
Oh,
So.
wow. I didn't realize.
Yeah, for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I really
Until they
liked
changed it.
like
Cult of Personality. yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Personality,
like
Royalties.
Batista's
Yeah.
Saliva song. Or,
Yeah, that was Batista. Wasn't it Batista's song?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Batista.
I Walk Alone.
Yep. Yeah.
And then I really liked Kane's in the 2000s.
Just spooky rock.
It was
spooky rock. That's
it was
all it
Finger
was.
11.
Was it really?
Yeah.
It was Finger 11.
Yeah, because I saw them live, and they're like, "Yeah, we had this song that we haven't played for years. It was a
It's
wrestling
Kane's
song."
song.
Yeah. And
It's
literally, I
Kane's.
saw a bunch of people just do this.
And the flames just come out of the
Yeah.
stage. Yeah, that's like one thing a lot of people don't talk about. The music is just so perfect.
Hold on, is this it?
Yeah, that's it.
There it is.
So good.
Alter Bridge.
Yep.
That's right. It is Alter Bridge. They had a bunch of and of course all the pay-per-views also had really good songs they would
Oh,
use.
I know.
Alter Bridge had like 4. I think
Mhm.
Hell Yeah had a couple. Like they use the same kind of genre of like hard rock. That's that hard rock genre was
Yeah,
wrestling.
They used
That
to
was
have
the-
music that just got you going. It's like, yeah, I want to see this person kick someone's ass.
Yeah.
But like now it's just like random metal that just seems like someone just put on FL
together.
Studios.
It's just clearly too, like Dad was saying last week, it's just so soft now, and it's
Yeah.
just not it's not at all.
Bring me back to 2006.
I mean,
Come on.
between 91 and like 2006 was probably the greatest years of the WWE to
Yeah.
me.
No, it was.
I mean, you're.
I just the music.
Shut up, man.
I was just gonna say you're probably not wrong because right around when Crispin Wall,
All right, never mind.
whoever
Who's that?
was.
Who?
Oh, you mean that guy that killed himself and his
What?
family?
Speaking of stuff, or like
Shut up.
that, like when Vince McMahon died, you know, on,
That was right before it.
Yeah,
that
yeah, and
storyline
then,
was
like,
right
yeah,
before
he was
it.
like,
yeah, and then he
actually,
revealed- yeah, that was
Yeah.
fake.
That was
And,
fake.
All right, so some stuff happened, and I'm actually alive.
change of
Yeah.
plan.
We're gonna end
And-
this story real quick.
when
When
that
they-
when that blew up, it was Crispin Wall in there. I mean,
Oh, no.
no. Then and when they dedicated the whole show to him, and then they found out in the middle of the show that it actually he
I
did a
mean,
bad. He did a bad thing.
I mean, he.
they were like, just
Yep.
We've
with
talked
it. You
about it
can't
on
stop.
here before, but
Yeah.
Chris Benoit was like his head was so destroyed. So
Mhm.
I mean, it's definitely like I don't know. I'm not saying that it's okay what he did, but I'm
oh
just,
no, it's never okay.
no, but yeah.
Definitely get help if you feel like something's going on. Just talk to somebody.
Right. I mean, his finisher was just him slamming his face into.
That's
other
if you're
people.
ever wanting
a
to be a
good
wrestler,
finisher.
don't
It is.
ever get a finisher where you just slam your head into someone because that's a
talking
good
to
way
you, Daniel
to.
Bryan.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh God.
That's a good way to get really hurt.
Yep.
Which Daniel Bryan, like you said,
Yeah.
he literally couldn't wrestle because of concussions.
Yeah. Did
So-
when Edge retired, was that but due to injury?
I think it was his
neck
back,
injury.
his
Yeah,
neck or
neck
back,
injury.
something
Spine.
like that.
Got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
neck,
miss-
spine, it's all
Yeah.
the same
Figured-
thing at the end of the
Because
day.
he was kind of still riding a high.
Yeah,
when
and he
retired.
wasn't that old. He was like, what?
He
in
had
his
to
30s?
retire because of injury.
Yeah,
I think he
I
was.
know.
I think he was WWE champion at the time.
Yeah.
I think I think he
That-
retired
yeah,
here in
I remember
Atlanta.
when he retired, I was very sad about
Yeah.
it.
He
Yeah.
came out in street clothes, and everyone's like, "Uh oh."
This is serious talk.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, same thing
Yeah.
with Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
recently.
If they come out in street
Yeah.
clothes, you're like, "I can't handle this.
Oh yeah,
I'm
they
not
come out
emotionally
in
prepared."
Not their uniform.
But see,
Don't
that's
you
the-
do it.
That's the
Don't
thing.
you do
like,
it.
they need to get to those levels. Like the only times where I get emotional anymore is when they have street clothes and they're like, "I'm going to retire." Any
I
other
have to.
time, it's been the same for so many years. Like I mean, I can tell you, I've probably watched Raw 3 times in the last 5 years, and I click on it, so it's like, oh, guy walks out for a promo, just so happens someone's gonna walk out, match starting,
yeah.
or like match at the end, and it's just like the same thing
Mhm.
over and over
Yeah.
and over.
That's why I kind of like. I got back into it for about a year last year. From like I think it was like 20. I think I said
Yeah.
2015, 16.
Me,
It's
you,
actually
and Alex
16,
would
17.
watch a little
Yeah,
bit.
we watched it some, but then I kind of after WrestleMania of 2017, after the whole Goldberg, that whole issue, I
Good
kind of
match.
just that minute and a half.
Oh, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was
It's a quality minute.
It
and a
was
half
quality
match.
minute and a half
those
with
spears
no.
versus suplexes.
Yeah.
It was brilliant.
It was
Yeah.
like when you're fighting in a fighting game and you don't know the controls, but you saw one move worked, and then you just keep doing that one move over and over.
Yeah.
Yep.
They were both doing that.
Yeah, it's just I don't even.
I know.
It's just now, which I sound like we're old.
I know. It's like it's not even
Those
that.
darn kids.
Well, you still watch it quite a bit, yeah.
I mean, I still find it interesting
because he has the Bower Club
Yeah,
shirt on.
yeah.
He has to.
Of course.
I mean, I still like the wrestling like
I do
of
too.
today.
I
I just
still
don't
keep-
watch it as
yeah, I
much.
keep up with like the news and
I'll
stuff.
watch Facebook and
I
see
watch
videos.
like
Yeah.
the business stuff, like what's happening and stuff.
What's
but
good
I,
for
I-
business?
yeah. Oh yeah. Oh gosh.
Oh.
What's best for business?
All right, authority. Here we go.
Best for business, yeah.
Okay, so basically that's kind of towards the end of the Ruthless Aggression eras with CM Punk just kind of in his 2008 when he won the Money in the Bank, became champion and whatever.
Yeah.
So after he kind of came and being the champion, the PG era kind of started in 2008 through 13. So that's when they kind of toned it down a little bit. They began to distance the WWE began to distance himself from edgier content and going more conservative approach. And so there's no like true start date, but there was an episode of SmackDown that changed from like it was like PG-DSV or something like
Oh yeah.
like whatever. But then it just went like that episode was just PG.
Well, it was like once Vince McMahon's wife went into politics was when everything started getting soft.
It was like that and Chris
Yeah.
Benoit. There was just a
And the
bad
Chris Benoit.
stigma. I mean, granted, I got embarrassed sometimes when I'd be like, "Yeah, I watch wrestling." It's like, you know, and it's just like there's
Never be embarrassed.
bra and panties matches, all this bull crap. Where
Yeah.
it's just like, oh god.
It would get to the it was a little bit sexual, quite
little?
a
Really?
lot of
Really?
it. We talked about it last week too,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there were
some bits.
of bad stuff. My
Bad
dad was
bits.
reminding me of all the things.
This is actually around the time where I switched to TNA, which
That's what me and my dad did. Well, my dad watched everything
Oh.
wrestling, but we did the same
the
thing.
Samoa Joe versus Kurt Angle.
Quality.
Oh,
I'm
so
gonna
good.
real quick just a note here in the next 10 or 15 minutes. Alex is gonna tag me out because I have to leave early. But Alex is gonna tag me out, and he's gonna come in and sit in for me.
Cool.
Anyway,
Okay, so and like when they started moving towards this less edgier, a lot of wrestlers actually when they came out with like some of them have like interviews when like in their actual selves, not their character, like they have just different parts, whatever. Triple H and Natalia both, who wrestled during this time when it kind of switched over, which Natalia from the Hart Foundation, that whole scene, they both talked about different switching from very edgy to a more conservative approach,
which is
and all
so
that.
weird because Triple H is like one of the key members of the Dirty Stuff.
Oh, absolutely. With
Oh,
DX,
my
of course.
Ooh,
Oh, yeah.
they literally
Yeah.
can't even do
Stop.
the move anymore because it would
I
offend
know,
somebody.
I know.
Yeah,
They
but
used to-
even
I mean, they would have signs that would say, "Show me your titties in the
Yeah,
stands."
yeah,
and-
yeah. Dude,
That's not happening.
Their promos from the 90s were rough.
Yeah.
Oh, it was bad. No, but that was another example of good pyro when they'd come out and do the symbol
Oh,
and
yeah.
the green X's
Mhm.
would go across the ring.
not
It's
no
the
more.
best.
I always
Sad.
loved Goldberg's
The best.
entrance.
Didn't Edge do a thing with like before they got soft? But Edge did like this thing where he dressed as Triple H and he had like a fake nose.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
then he came out and spits water into the air.
I
It was so
I
funny.
can't stand like if you're sitting front row.
You get spat on.
I'm like, there's no way none of that water's touching you. I'm like, I
Oh.
don't spit on me.
Spitting on
It's
you.
just a
It's part of the
spray.
experience, dude. Hardcore.
it's wrestling.
That's
Come
wrestling,
on.
boy.
Disgusting.
But and even another one too is like John Cena's FU got turned into the Attitude Adjustment.
Yeah.
Yep. But
Which-
his
I
five
still
knuckle
call-
shuffle is still the same.
Yeah, 5-knuckle shuffle.
Yeah.
Which I guess more of just in name itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because you say FU, that's naughty. You can't say
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
You can't say that in
Yeah,
current
the
WWE.
middle.
So.
Well, never mind. It's just you're right.
And to even kind of help with because they moved away from this edgier content, so they started to include like celebrities that would come on, which I
Gosh, the
remember watching
celebrity
this.
guest show
So like
or
they had
whatever.
Donald Trump was
Donald
actually
Trump.
he
our
was one of the
president.
first ones.
President of the United States, Donald Trump.
He was the owner of Raw for a night.
for an episode.
So,
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was.
and then like there's other celebrities too that would also come in. Just there's there's tons of them. There's so much to go through. And then they would also have like DX actually reunited for a little bit, but it wasn't like the edgy DX. It was like a more
Yeah.
can't be edgy
When
DX.
they
So
came
it was
back?
just yeah.
that
So
what
it
you're
was
saying?
So it was just kind of like a they were DX. It's more just of the nostalgic, and it wasn't.
Yeah, they were
as
more
dirty.
pranks than
Yeah.
dirty. Yeah.
Yeah.
They were like 5-year-olds.
Yeah, they
instead of
like
13-year-olds.
They slime the Spirit Squad. They drop
Oh.
they drop poop on Vince McMahon
I mean,
in
they
the stage.
did ship them
and-
to Kentucky, which was kind of funny. So
I don't know about any of that stuff. I didn't see that. I don't think.
But
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
that's a prank. It's a prank. Can't get mad if
Can't
someone
get
says
mad,
it's a
just
prank.
a prank, bro.
As long as you say it's a prank,
Yeah.
can't get mad.
Nope. not illegal
Didn't
anymore.
they shove Vince McMahon's head into Big Show's ass?
Probably.
They probably did.
No, yeah, they
pretty
did.
sure.
You guys never. You guys. Oh my gosh.
I think I blocked it out from my
watched that.
memory.
I don't know if I want to see that.
Yeah,
No.
I think it was so traumatic. I
They
was like, nope.
literally take Vince McMahon's head and pull down Big Show's pants
Oh.
and put his face into
When?
Big Show's ass in a pay-per-view. It was in
When,
a steel
though?
cage,
What
like
year?
08.
Oh wait.
Yeah, it was like Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon and Big
That-
Show versus DX.
That I mean, yeah. I like.
Was it when they won the title?
What'd you say?
4 beers. Four
years.
beers. No, 4 beers.
4 beers.
You know about 4 beers?
No,
Okay.
I do. No, I do. I remember that.
Yeah, we won't.
No, you got all that stuff to say.
That was your friend? Yikes. I'll explain 4 beers later.
Uh-oh.
For those
Maybe
that
don't
know,
talk about that.
yeah, for those that know, you know. That's it.
Oh my god, dude.
But okay, so speaking of DX, and then you mentioned Big Show, DX actually unified the tag team titles at this time. Whenever they kind of came back against Chris Jericho and the Big Show, they were the title holders at the time.
Jericho, right?
Yeah, the Jericho. I hear him. He's squeaking like a toy. It's like a dog toy that has the squeaker gone.
Yeah, I know. Anyway.
This is also when ECW came back.
Yeah,
I
ECW
remember.
was around like in 2006, which we mentioned in the last episode. Whenever they
Oh.
came
It was kind
back.
of like a
It
shadow.
was still
of-
going on though. It didn't end
Yeah.
until 2010.
ECW wasn't as good though. I
Oh,
mean,
hell
ECW.
no.
I mean, if
was-
you like
my
the-
dad, no, dude. ECW turned into just Raw but cheaper, like a cheaper.
You didn't like
version of
Tommy
Raw.
Dreamer?
I did when he was in ECW
I-
in the '90s and stuff when it was good.
I liked RVD.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rob Van Dam was in it.
RVDs.
Well, you had the
RVDs
Hardy Boys were on
always-
ECW too at one point.
Yep.
Dude,
Well, and
RVD.
Christian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you were just
he was
hardcore,
he was their title
Wasn't
holder, I think.
RVD in TNA?
Yes,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
met him.
Yeah, I did too. But yeah, anywhere he went, everybody loved him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no matter
No,
where he
he's,
went, the
he's
whole
a good
crowd loved
wrestler.
him.
But like there's another celebrity kind of come back. Bret Hart actually came back in 2010.
Yeah.
Won the
He came
US
back to
title.
fight for a little bit.
God, it's like the last time you saw him, he was like young and youthful.
Now he's like,
and then he comes back and it's like,
Like the last time you saw him, like Goldberg kicked him and he got a stroke.
Yeah, he's had crazy. Yeah.
yeah, dude.
So
He kind of looked like Patches O'Houlihan from Dodgeball to me when he came back. That's who he
little bit.
reminded me of.
but so like when he came back, he actually reconciled with Shawn Michaels from the last episode with Montreal Screwjob and
Yep.
all that stuff. They
Uh-huh.
actually, which I
They-
think
they
that may
hugged it
not
out.
have been. So that may not have actually been fake. That may have been like, we need to, we
Or-
worked in the same company. We need to at least settle our differences.
Mhm.
Of what stuff happened. So. That happened, and then another huge match that happened around this time, 2008, I think, was at WrestleMania 24. Ric Flair and Shawn Michaels, which we talked
Yep.
about, like one of the best matches I think I've ever seen, like ever. Like it's the one match I can remember as a child, like watching, because I loved Ric Flair and I loved Shawn Michaels, and it was like I think I knew who was gonna lose, but it was like you don't want it to happen, and
Yeah.
it's not real, but it feels so
I
real
know.
watching it.
they didn't tell you every second it was fake.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of the thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can see the real emotion when watching it. Like when he says, "I'm sorry," like there's a little bit to it. Like,
Like he was feeling it. He was
He-
in character big time on that part.
yeah.
He's
And then
just
Ric
like,
Flair waiting for it gets up and he's like
bleeding. Yeah.
doing his fist like, and then he just
Uh-huh.
gets kicked in the face. And then 1, 2, 3, and then he gets up and you hear like the crowds like cheering for him and everyone's sad. He's crying and doing his thing. Which I mean, he's still around today, but like that was a big that
Ric
match
Flair
was
is
huge.
the best person on social media currently.
He
Oh.
even wrestled. in
He does
TNA.
so much.
He
I don't
works
know
with
how
the Migos.
I don't know how he does it. He's so old, but he just is doing stuff
He
all the
just
time.
exuberates drip. He is
Drip.
the best, dude.
He really is. Like I don't.
Ah.
That song plays all the time in WWE 2K19. It irritates me
It's
so
probably
much.
the only song that got the rights to it.
I'm just like, damn it! I just want to create my show. Leave me alone, Migos.
And then actually, I think it was like 2 years later, Shawn Michaels fought against Undertaker, and whoever lost that match
Yep.
would have to retire.
Yeah.
And then
Shawn
come back
Michaels.
bald.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
Ooh.
Yeah, he came back like recently.
That was
You're like,
that
ooh.
was
I know.
strange.
He's straight bald. It was probably because his hair was just super gray. Gray long hair on a wrestler just doesn't work.
No.
He was the best person in that match too.
Yeah.
I did not watch
seeing
it.
DX now is the saddest thing.
Well,
They're
it's just
so-
seeing all the old people still. It's just like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Like the Nostalgia Acts have their time and their place, but if you're coming back and like it was DX versus the Brothers of Destruction, and they took a legitimate hour of that show for that match. I'm like these guys are killing themselves out there,
Yeah.
but I'm just like, it's just.
I think Triple H almost killed him.
He tore his
bad for
pec.
business.
I'm
Yes,
just- like,
you
they
can
can't
see
go.
he's so bruised,
And
he
that's
had, like, this
bad for
huge-
business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
No, I thought it was best for business, especially
Whatever,
going to
dude.
Saudi Arabia.
I'm saying that it's not best for business.
That was best for business, right?
I mean, that was paycheck, but
Yeah, I don't know about that, but so after, like we mentioned, Edge retired. So basically, right after Edge retired, The Rock came back. The Rock
Yeah.
came back for a little bit. So he actually came back to wrestle at, or he announced that he was a host at WrestleMania 27.
That was
And
the one
then-
in Atlanta, right?
I think
That was
he
the one I went
hosted.
to.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
I
you
went
went
to that
That's
one.
cool.
that was when Miz beat
Snooki.
Cena for the
Oh,
main event.
oh wait, you went to the worst WrestleMania.
I sure did. I sure
See,
did.
that's the thing is, what's funny is I actually like The Miz a lot. He's one of my favorite wrestlers.
now.
Yeah, even now.
No, I'm
No, no,
now.
Miz now.
Yes, not like a now, as in like a question mark. but-
Right.
Oh no, like he
Yeah.
is. I'm just saying, like he is. It's kind of like I say it down the low because no one really likes him. Is
No, but that
But-
WrestleMania did suck.
yeah.
That was the one
Yeah.
I get to go to one live, and I went to like.
You're like, this is the one I go to.
No,
This is what you do to me.
Thanks, Dad.
Well,
it was-
Brian.
I mean, the main event's supposed to be like the big closing of the biggest wrestling event of
Yeah.
the
Was
year.
I mean,
it-
John Cena's pretty big.
And
Was
see,
it
it's-
just like propaganda for the next one?
Yeah,
Or
it set it up.
just
It was
like a
Cena
It set
versus
it up.
Miz.
Yeah.
Cena.
Because after it was over, there was a feud between John Cena and The Rock started. So they literally just used it as a way to wait for next year.
Yeah.
And then also wait for the year after.
Yeah,
They
finish
literally
it.
just used it. Yeah, like it's just a way to make money. But I mean,
Yeah.
it was still interesting. It's just the time it took to kind of like put it all.
Wrestling's just redneck anime.
I mean,
Not
it's,
wrong.
It's the one piece.
I'd
of,
still watch it. If you put wrestling as anime, I'd watch it.
Yeah,
There probably
There,
is a
there-
wrestling
there is
anime.
actually a
I'm
comic
sure.
book out for wrestling right now.
That's beautiful.
Like
Yeah.
with like the real wrestlers or like
Yes, like the real wrestlers. Like it's done by writers
Do
of
they have
WWE.
superpowers?
I think it's story
Please.
arcs of the show. Which,
story arcs.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know.
I
are
mean,
you- are
they
you-
do kind of have superpowers anyway.
I mean,
Yeah,
they don't
super
really.
strength.
I mean,
Valor lifted a ambulance and
Bra-
flipped
no,
it
that was
over.
No, that was Braun
Strowman.
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 Yeah,
That's
freaking
right,
Braun
that's right.
Strowman.
No,
to do that,
right, that's
but it was
right.
definitely not him.
No, no,
Balor
you're
just
right.
doesn't know that it's like, man, you should just turn into the demon. You'll win all the time. It's like, no,
Yeah.
I'll just be Balor and lose all the time.
No, I love how
Breaks
now.
my
I mean,
heart.
there
I
are
know,
a
I'm
lot
sorry.
breaks
of
my heart.
there are a lot of really good new current wrestlers, but I
Yeah.
feel like now it's just like a bunch of the old guys coming back and
Well,
doing something.
And the biggest problem is like a lot of the new guys that are really good are like actually old.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
AJ
AJ
Styles
is like
Yeah.
He's
41.
new to
Yeah.
WWE for like 2
he was in
3
TNA.
years.
He was like the face
Oh
of
my
TNA
gosh,
for a
he was so
long
good.
time.
I know.
Ah, I
There
love
were
it.
so many of those guys wrestled for so long on the indies that,
Mhm.
yeah, they're new to WWE, but they've got a lot of miles
Oh
already
Yeah.
that they're like, I don't.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hello?
Siri.
Siri got something to say.
Did you say AJ Styles?
Yes, Siri.
Yes, I said the phenomenal one from Gainesville, Georgia.
She calls me AJ Styles. That's why.
Hey,
Oh.
hey Siri,
Oh.
call me AJ Styles.
You got to grow the hair out though.
I do.
You
I
gotta get
just
that
straighten
soccer
it
mom
out.
van hair.
That hair is crazy.
Yeah.
I'm so used to seeing him with like this haircut.
Oh my-
kind
yeah,
of. He
yeah.
just had like a regular haircut. Now he's got that long hair.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
So with that like feud,
Continue.
with the feud kind of starting with it,
We legit sound like white girls talking about a soap opera.
I don't mind.
I will
I don't
say, maybe
mind.
we
Neither do
should
I.
talking
talk
about
Neither
his
do I.
music and his
This is
hair.
fine.
Maybe we should talk about AJ Styles' hair more, okay? What do we think about it?
That's
Rating
true.
from 1 to 5.
I'm gonna give it a
4.5.
solid
Now, good 4.
3. It's a good 4. It's a hard.
That's a
Four.
good soccer mom hair.
Yeah.
Which
Go-
that was a bit that John Cena used.
Sorry, continue.
We'll just keep going. We'll save that for a later date. But so with that feud, like after that kind of started in August of 2011, I just punched my mic. They actually started to phase out that split between Raw and SmackDown, which I think was dumb.
Yep.
So they started just having where everyone could kind of come on whatever show, and I think that personally, I think it made SmackDown become a very secondary show
For sure.
at the time. Nowadays, it's not like that, but like at that point, whenever I was watch it, I didn't care about watching SmackDown.
Well, and that-
you had the
I-
same wrestlers on both shows, but
you-
Raw
you-
was usually always better.
Man, I'm
Yeah.
so sorry.
And Raw
you
was
watched
live,
that.
and SmackDown wasn't.
And also SmackDown came on like a Friday.
They changed a lot.
Like
But it was a Friday, and then it was a Thursday, I think, at this point.
Like
and
I
now
feel
it's
like
Tuesdays.
Monday's a good day, but
and then
like
it was only on holidays.
I don't want to do like Friday. I'm doing stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they film it, so they always did SmackDown on Tuesday, but they filmed it, so then they edit it.
Right.
So then if they didn't get the crowd reactions they wanted, they could just edit that in.
Yeah.
So then they
Like
aired
they do now.
a taped show on
Yeah.
Thursday or Friday. So if you really wanted to know if it was worth watching, you just go online and read it. And
Yeah.
They
you're
would tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like, oh, nope, I don't think I'm going to watch that one. And that's
Yeah.
what I did that a lot. Yeah, especially
Yeah.
on Friday night. I'm like,
I'd rather like go and do something, especially because like when I was in high school and stuff, I was just like I'd rather
Football
go to my
games.
friend's house. I don't.
Football games.
Halo 2, brother.
To be fair, if the
Yeah,
show was
Halo,
actually
Halo.
really good, it'd be different. And that's kind of the huge problem is like, when's the last time the show's been good?
SmackDown? Lately.
Either
It's been-
one.
it's
Well,
been really
I
good.
would say Raw and SmackDown now are better than probably 2011 through 13 Raw and SmackDown.
Have you watched the recent episodes of Raw?
I watch every week, bro.
I am so sorry.
Yeah, it's a little rough.
Like-
It is right now. It's a little rough.
No,
Like-
yeah, it is.
It is.
Like,
Gotta stay true to your.
And so, and God, coming back to Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, it's just
He is
oh
the
yeah,
Raw
he is the
current
champion right now.
Universal
Yeah.
champion, which is
that's
their.
because Roman Reigns just went
Right,
down, which I guess we'll talk about.
why.
that in a
But
bit.
why give it back to him?
yeah.
You have a
Why?
you have a
Why?
3-hour show with
Just give
all
it to
these
Triple
people.
H.
That deserve it. And he comes on once,
Yeah.
like every month.
Brock Lesnar is the face of the show, and Paul Heyman is mostly the reason why people even watched.
He sells his promos. Yeah, just
I will say, just give the Universal title to AJ Styles, which first of all, that's a dumbass name. But
AJ Styles.
no,
or-
the Universal title.
Oh,
They just had to figure out what to do.
yeah.
Yeah.
And the Brooklyn crowd at SummerSlam when my boy with his busted shoulder won it as the inaugural champion.
And
They
gave it up the next
unveiled that
day.
belt and they shit all over it. That belt's stupid. You got Finn and Seth killing each other in the ring,
yeah.
and they're just chanting that belt's stupid. And you're just like, oh god.
Well, now they
Sorry,
don't,
guys.
I mean, now they don't even chant that anymore because you never see the belt.
Nope.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's-
like a little bit
What,
off.
but what belt are you talking about?
they
You don't
did.
see it.
They did. I think as they were trying to transition Lesnar into more of a heelish character because he's so ambiguous. He's never there to have a character.
Mhm.
People started chanting, "Where's our title?"
Yep.
So I'm like, oh, we'll take that over. That belt's stupid.
I'm gonna go ahead and tap out. Me and Sahil got a dip. So
Tap out.
Do a tag team.
Tag out. Tag me
Tag
out.
out.
Mm.
Yeah.
Is
So
this Lucha House rules?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God! You know the Lucha House rules.
yes.
Well,
Love you guys.
I watch.
Poor
I wa-
revival.
I watch
Oh,
other-
revival.
Alex, I
Oh.
hope you're bringing some.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen?
I was gonna do what's up invaders for a second. Oh, that's what you were about to do.
I watch.
What's up,
I
invaders?
listen to podcasts about wrestling. I can't watch it. I still have.
It's like the sole reason I have Twitter. Is just to converse with other people online about wrestling. Like my wife will watch it from time to time. She's a big Becky Lynch fan, so she's like all about it right now.
probably the best thing going on right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, their
it
women's
is.
division has gotten a lot better.
Do you watch like anything outside of WWE?
NXT from time to time, but that
You
is
guys
still WWE.
Watch New Japan.
And-
There's this thing called the G1 Classic where it's like this literally tournament for 2 months where like every match matters.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
probably the best thing.
So I did when. Again, we're kind of getting away from the Ruthless Era, but
That's good.
we started exploring, like, just following along with online. And when Prince Devitt, Fergal Devitt, my boy Finn,
Yep.
got announced that he was signing with WWE, I was like, everyone was freaking out. I was like, I don't know who that is. I don't care who that is. But I started doing research and I started watching some of his older stuff, and I was drawn into Sting in WCW.
Oh, I love Sting.
Crow, face paint. I was like, let's go. And then I started seeing Balor with his matches in
Mhm.
New Japan with the paint, and I was like, that's gonna be my boy. That's gonna be my boy. He showed up on NXT. And I was like, on it.
With
Let's
those
go.
washboard abs and
Yeah,
everything.
yes. Yes, the washboard abs.
We'll get to your. I'll mention something that I know you'll want to talk about because I know you're not really into.
Dean Ambrose?
No, well, actually, maybe we'll talk about it. We'll talk
Okay.
about it.
I hate him.
So just continuing,
Dean Ambrose is an idiot. Go ahead.
and that is found truth.
That's the final truth.
Okay, so just to continue from after the whole feud and everything like that. So it actually saw John Cena and CM Punk had a match at Money in the Bank that year that actually ended up being one of the best matches that I think CM Punk has ever fought.
That was in Chicago, right?
I think
Yeah.
it was
That
when
was
he
that
won the
was him
title.
and
Was it in 2013?
Said he was leaving.
Yeah, it's 20. Well, it's 20.
Oh, 20, yeah.
End of 2011, because after he won it, he held it for like a year.
Yeah.
Like it was like
And some
400.
change,
Yeah, it was 434 days. So he held it for like a year and 80 days
Goddamn
extra.
Brock Lesnar.
And that was one of the longest reigns in WWE history. So that was a big deal.
and he defended it
Yeah.
like regularly.
Oh yeah, he defended it a lot.
Lesnar's now that has that distinct honor, but he's never around to defend it.
That's
Yeah.
how you get away with it.
Yeah, essentially.
And then he actually, it was funny, as CM Punk actually lost the title to The Rock.
Mhm.
So that's what set up the whole, and then The Rock fought John Cena at WrestleMania 29 in a rematch from when they fought the previous year, and Cena would win just to get another number.
Well, yeah,
another number
Cena's
on
got to
it.
get his win back.
Yeah, you got to
Yep.
get the win. But
50-50 booking.
Yeah, and
Yep.
then afterwards, I think it was like after they were done with both, they were kind of like buddy-buddy in the ring at some
Yep.
point. They were shaking hands like, oh yeah, good fight, money.
Yep.
Just smiling, money. And then that's it. But then actually, so after Cena had won it, then this is when Daniel Bryan kind of came into the scene. So
Mhm.
after Cena won it, he would drop it to Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam. And then literally right after that, the Authority storyline started.
Right
Which,
after.
like literally right after. And that was with Triple H as the COO, and his prodigy, which literally is like, he's been around the same amount of time as him almost, is Randy Orton.
Mhm.
And then of
Slithering
course, then
in.
you got Paul Heyman as like an advocate with Brock Lesnar at the time. So it's just like all this stuff going on, which kind of some of this stuff is still going on now when it comes to Brock Lesnar.
Well,
and
you still have
Paul Heyman.
Stephanie McMahon or
Yeah,
Triple
that
H
whole
come out and be like,
stuff.
oh my gosh, let's get rid of the GM.
Yep.
Gosh.
Well, now they've got the general manager elect, and it's like it's not a voted
Wait,
position.
Is
Stop.
Baron Corbin
Yeah,
still?
there's no
He's
elect.
the GM elect. I'm like, you don't. This is not a vote.
There's no elect. There's no. They just do.
Yeah, they just appoint you. That's it.
This is it. They don't ask everyone that works there. Like, do you think? Let's take a vote.
Let's vote on who should be
Yeah.
the GM.
Maybe they voted behind scenes and we just don't know. It's a backstory. You got to read the comic book.
Oh, true. That's canon. I forgot. We got to talk about the canon. Right? Is it canon or not?
Oh, that stuff must be on the WWE network somewhere.
So after Bryan ended up getting his title stripped on Raw following Night of Champions, he was later removed from his main event push. And on several occasions, fans would which of course this is big for everybody. It still goes on now with the yes.
Yeah.
Literally,
Yep.
anytime they would talk about something, you would just hear as almost like
it
Stone
would
Cold Steve
drown
Austin's
out
what? It would be
everyone.
like that, but it would just be yes, yes. So whenever they were talking about what is it? John Cena and Randy Orton were supposed to have a match, and they were
Yeah, it was
talking
supposed to-
about something.
Yep.
The TLC match, and then they just hijacked it to Daniel Bryan's yes.
Yeah, they had brought out like a whole bunch of past champions, and it was supposed to be it's unifying. It's gonna be
because they were going to unify the title.
yeah,
Whoever
it's
won
the
would
WWE
unify
champion and the World Heavyweight champion, and there was going to be whoever won this is the champion of champions, and you've got all these other guys who have won titles in the ring, and people are they're drowning out Rey Mysterio, they're drowning out John Cena, they're drowning out Randy Orton, CM Punk's getting drowned out, Triple H is on a microphone getting drowned out, and everyone's
Well, yeah,
just,
did you also see
Bryan.
during whenever Stephanie McMahon was talking about Triple H, CM Punk's face in the
Oh
back?
yeah, it was so good.
He's like laughing.
Yeah, he's
at
like, okay.
yeah, because of course they're married in real life, so of course she's gonna talk up, even if it's fake
The
for the
game.
show. The game, yeah.
The King of Kings.
CM Punk's literally
He's literally laughing in the background. Yeah.
which does, of course, like I was saying, it's a love-hate relationship with him because people want him to come back, but then also people don't because of the way it kind of ended, and then just his attitude.
And then
towards
recent
certain
stuff
things.
with him and Cole Cabana.
The whole lawsuit against.
Oh yeah, and just like that's still going on. But
Well, so that lawsuit, the whole that whole thing came from a podcast that Punk did with Cabana
Yep.
regarding a doctor for WWE,
Yep.
and the doctor sued him for whatever,
a lot of money.
a lot of money, but the judge threw that suit out. But apparently, and this is just from internet rumors or whatever,
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Punk had told Cabana that he would help him out with legal fees from all this, and then when Cabana was like, "Hey man, I need some money for legal fees," Punk was like, "Nah." Again, all allegedly. This is just from like Twitter and dirt sheet websites and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
like they were boys. Oh,
I mean, to be honest, I don't blame Cole Cabana because, he's not as big as CM Punk. It's
No.
like,
Yeah.
I'm good.
So to basically finish off the era, which is where it kind of ends. So whenever they had that final match, before they unified it at TLC, Orton would win it, as everyone knows, and then he would unify it. And then it was briefly called the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, but then they would just change it to the WWE Championship, and instead of being kind of like the look of it, it was just a big. I don't think it looks cool like before, or I guess now it's still currently too. Just a big WW in the middle. Like I think it looks. It's just like so. There's no words to it. It just says just a big WWE logo like in the middle. But so after that was unified, 2014 would start the reality era, and then the new era like currently. And so from then on. I kind of drowned out about it. I don't know. Like I know we've been talking in and out about current stuff and whatnot, but
I will
so
say.
So that's how it ended.
At least the belt looks better than John Cena's one. That's
I like
spinner belt.
I like John Cena's spinning belt. I like that better as the champ because who did he beat? He beat JBL and because that was when it was still like the normal looking one, and then they changed it to the spin one. And then I know he lost it to like.
Edge won it, and he took the W off of it and put the rated R symbol on it for a while.
See, that's what I like. I like that kind of stuff too.
I mean, I didn't like John Cena back then.
Oh, you didn't like John Cena?
Oh no,
oh man, I love John Cena.
No,
I don't know if I made that point clear. I like John Cena.
See, I liked other wrestlers who would always lose to John Cena. I'm like, fuck.
Oh yeah, no.
Beat John Cena.
Yeah.
Cena. Oh, he kicks out at 2. Oh, he kicks out at 2. Oh, here's the AA. 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
Yeah, just like your thoughts on like
Is that loud?
current today and future WE. Like, what are y'all's thoughts since y'all are guesting on the show?
You can go first.
So I'm a huge Balor fan, as it's evidence.
I'm so sorry.
That's evident. I have like all of his shirts.
Gosh.
Well, every time they do that, like buy a shirt, get one for $1, I was like, done. And my wife was like, I'm gonna murder you if you keep buying these shirts unless you get me
like
a Becky
$30.
24, yeah.
Okay, so they're $30.
Yeah.
So $25 for 2 shirts. It's like half off.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was
It's
like,
like getting a shirt at Walmart.
Yeah, I was good with it. So I got her like a Randy Orton shirt and a Becky Lynch shirt, so she's good. Raw's 3 hours. There's no reason. I understand it's really hard to write 3 hours worth of content, but you have so many talented superstars.
Oh yeah,
and so many of them are just squandering in and out of storylines without much to do.
Heath Slater.
Heath Slater's now.
I love Heath Slater.
Well, he's now a referee.
He's a referee now.
So he lost. So Corbin put him and Rhino in a match and said the losers get fired, the winner stays. But he didn't say the winner stays as a wrestler. So Slater rolled Rhino up last week, and now he's a ref. So at some point, you're going to see. I would assume you would see Slater, a referee, take some sort of bump, probably in a Corbin match. Slater's going to run in and count a 3 count on Corbin to lose a match.
Just look at that arc.
Yeah, you already know. Did you write for them?
I'm just assuming. No, it's just years. It's just years of watching.
You write the comic books.
But see, that's the problem. It's like there's years of you watching it, so you just like
you kind of know. You kind of know. You can like copy and paste wrestlers from different eras. What's gonna happen, and just put it in.
Well, and so much of it like
similar.
Like anytime Lesnar's in a match, like
he's gonna win.
He's gonna win. Yeah, like
he's gonna win.
Yeah, so that match with Bryan at Survivor Series scared the hell out of me. That first suplex that he threw Bryan square on the back of his neck. And I was just like,
well, Lesnar is literally the worst when it comes to being safe with doing the wrestling moves.
I was like, this is too real now. This is too real. I'm not comfortable with where this match is going.
Well, Lesnar wanted to test it out. It's like, well, let's hit him right on the head and see what happens.
Yeah. I was like, this
is why no one likes you.
This dude has a history of concussions that retired him for an extended period of time. And the first thing he does, I'm going to throw him on his head. I was like, nope, not comfortable with this. Not comfortable. Bryan almost beat him, though. Almost. But it's Brock Lesnar. And
there's probably something in his contract that he just can't lose.
Yeah.
Well, there has to be something in his contract.
He's been built up now at this point that he has this amazing opportunity and to put someone over for an extended period of time. Like when he took over as the Universal Champion and they had match after match.
2 years ago now?
Essentially, almost.
Essentially, because he lost it for a little bit, and then he got it right back because of... Really, right now, Roman Reigns would be champion probably for a long time. They've been building it up for him to be like an excited one.
Boy,
they built that feud up for so long, and then they backed it off and built it up and backed it off, and everyone was like, all right, Roman can't get the job done, which is what Joe said, that couldn't do it. You can't do it.
Well, that's what happens when you only have one person you build up, that when, that falls, all falls. I would much rather see 6, 7, 8 people. I know, like we were talking about Ruthless Aggression. It was called like the SmackDown 6 back then.
Yeah, there was consistent guys that were always in the main events that can compete at that high level.
It's a lot harder to predict what's going to happen. Where now it's just like okay, yep, we know who's gonna win, and the formula is just the same. It never changes at all.
It's so much 50-50. You see on a pay-per-view one night, and then it's a rematch on Raw the next night. You're like, the hell did I watch the pay-per-view for?
Yeah, you could just watch it the next night.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah.
You didn't have to buy. Well, I guess. Yeah, because now you have to do a subscription to watch all the pay-per-views.
Although I will say I love that.
It's cheaper that way.
Yeah, because $60 a trip every month for a pay-per-view. I was like, nope,
Yeah, no.
that's never gonna happen.
I will say, or you can just like
Just
get
find
the
a sh-
ones that you want in terms of like the network. Like they were always doing free ones,
Mhm.
and so I always get it for like the Royal Rumble.
Oh, he's the
and
guy with all the
WrestleMania.
different email accounts and the
Yep,
glasses.
or I just use my friends.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, you haven't used your credit card yet?
Yeah.
let me bum that from you.
So what do you guys think about the future then? Like from here on, like how do you feel like it's gonna move? Because I know your current feelings about it now, and I kind of share the same. But like for the future, like in the next couple years, how do you think it's gonna be?
I think the indie scene is getting so much better
Mhm.
and so more popular that
Good job, Cody
WWE
Rhodes.
is going to have to make a move. Not probably in the next 2 or 3 years. I think it's going to stay pretty stagnant. I think 5-10 years there'll be a huge change just because with like New Japan, Ring of Honor, and then now whatever Cody Rhodes is doing with his new he's building something new with like a bunch of people. And
I mean, no one
think
thought-
Chris Jericho's
No one thought he could sell out All In, and they sold out, which was an
like
indie
less than
pay-per-view.
less than an hour.
Yeah.
And so the fact that all of that's happening, showing that a bunch of people are fed up with Raw, which I don't blame them.
Boring.
Either something is going to happen or Raw is just slowly
Change the
going to
story.
die.
Yeah.
All they do is just change it. Everyone will be happy.
Well, and
So I
so
don't
much of
get
it, again, Vince is the godfather. Without Vince, I don't think that wrestling would ever be to the point where it is now. But he's the law of the land when it comes to decisions. And if he doesn't like it, he's not going to sign off on it. Triple H runs NXT. I think he runs 205 Live now.
Yep.
And those two are so enjoyable to watch.
They're also an hour.
Yes, they are. That's true. That's a good point. That's true. And it's one of those things that, do you hold out for Vince to retire if he ever retires, for Triple H to run full control of creative? Like I still have faith. Like
I think Triple H might die before Vince McMahon dies.
I
think Vince-
at this point, Vince is going to live forever.
He literally has.
Yeah.
There's some secret that he's got going because
It's called cocaine.
Steroids.
yeah. I mean, because I think he could probably still wrestle a little bit. And probably a little spooky.
No,
You don't think he could?
No, I mean Triple H. If he broke his or messed up his pectoral at like 50, what do you think Vince McMahon's going to do? He walked out one time,
Towards quads.
tore both quads.
Yep. That was the Rumble. I think that was Cena Batista 05.
Oh wait.
When 08 was it?
Yeah,
08?
that's the first
Well,
time they ever.
That was 10 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, now he tore both quads and both
Yeah,
biceps.
just running to the ring. Literally running to the ring. Both quads.
Okay. So to finish it off, I want to ask Alex his thoughts. On, So Dean Ambrose, and then also something about Seth Rollins and Brett.
Okay, well, Brett just looks like Seth Rollins. If Brett had long hair, he'd be Seth Rollins.
See, I don't agree with that. Do you
Nope.
guys see it?
No.
I don't see it.
Yeah, you guys clearly don't look at Seth Rollins as much as I
Hey,
do. But
hey,
it's
I
fine.
burn it down with Seth every Monday night.
Okay, well.
And
and
then what
spend
about-
a little more time on your off hours? But Dean Ambrose is. Can we talk about his fashion? Like, is that okay?
It's just denim pants and a tank top.
But his denim pants, he has
A
like
wife beater.
studded denim. He has
Cena
studded
wrestles in
jeans.
jean shorts.
Okay, that's fine, but that's like
He's
it's,
like 40.
That's his thing.
that's his thing, and he has that military crew cut or whatever. Dean Ambrose literally looks like the white trash that you would see outside.
They just picked him up. Like, come on, you're
Yeah, they're
wrestling
like, hey
now.
man, come on now. You know, he still's got that comb over that he just pours oil in, like baby oil, before the matches. It's disgusting. Okay?
Yeah.
There's nothing cool about him either. He's not badass.
I mean, I don't
He's
mind
not cool.
him. He was a
Well,
pretty good Intercontinental champion, doesn't he,
I
for a
mean,
little bit?
I mean, most of the wrestlers aren't cool. Like, there's no cool.
Seth Rollins is pretty cool, man.
CrossFit Jesus.
He's all right. I don't really like Seth Rollins that much.
Like,
That's fine.
there's not many that are like, yeah, like when we were talking about like earlier wrestling, like maybe it was because we were younger, but also it could
Look at
be
these
like,
kids these days.
Is Seth Rollins still a heel?
No, he's
no,
a
he's-
face.
yeah.
Which, and I say I liked him more when he was a heel, when he was the architect.
Me too.
Yeah.
When he was the blonde streak.
Like, I mean,
Before
part of the
he went
reason
out,
why
yeah.
it's so hard to like it is a lot of them don't feel cool, especially when they say their nicknames all the time, like the Architect or the Demon.
Yeah, they can't say their own names. That makes it everyone else is supposed to say it for you.
I think it was so
Yeah.
awesome when WCW really started just like Kevin Nash, Scott Hall. They were
just
just
their names.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
were
just
just
their names, yeah.
dudes.
Mhm.
And like, everyone wasn't scripted for better or worse. And
Worse for worse, for sure.
and you had people like Scott Steiner who like we still talk about like those ridiculous promos.
We talked about his promo where he does some really weird math. So he
Oh,
does
yeah.
he does that one pretty good. So
Okay.
if you haven't heard that one, which we were hoping if you're listening that you at least heard last episode, but yeah, just listen towards the end of part 2. It's
75% chance of winning. No, it's 50-50 chance of winning, right? That's where
Oh,
started.
you take my 75% chance.
Yeah,
and my
that one.
66 and 2/3%
Yeah, that one.
chance.
Yeah.
You get 150.
that one's a good one. That's on our end of the last episode. We talked about that.
Quick
but
maths.
very much quick maths.
Yeah.
But I mean, when they're not scripted, or when you have more people who feel like top stars and not just one person, like it kind of gets old when, like, for instance, when John Cena or Triple H was kind of like the guy, like in the early 2000s, it was like, what's the point of watching? Like Goldberg was such a popular character, and yet Triple H beat him like the
Yeah.
first time. It's just like, what are you doing? Like Goldberg is much more popular than you.
Yeah.
And yet, there's just stuff like that, and there's just too much politics. That's why I said you guys should watch New Japan, because that stuff is crazy, and also the G1 Classic. If there's any wrestling you watch, it's like those 2 months. That's like the Super Bowl of wrestling.
I'll have to look it up. I've actually
Yeah.
never watched any of the New
And
Japan
you can see
wrestling.
Brock Lesnar matches in Japan, which is fucking amazing.
He fought in Japan?
Yes.
For a while, yeah.
I did not know that.
And he actually wrestled. So-
Actually wrestle him. Okay. Well, that's good.
It-
Well, I guess for the rest of this, there's a lot of content, a lot of talking. This episode maybe was a little bit different than
Yeah.
normal, with 2 guests, a little special 2 guests, and then
Two
a
guests
tag
and a
out.
tag out.
And a
And a
tag
tag
out. We had to keep the wrestling spirit, but yeah. So we hope everyone enjoyed. It was a lot of fun talking about it for most of it. I know it's a little quiet for some people, but I know we're hoping that that everyone that listened and watched along enjoyed as much as I did, and Brett's dad and Brett and everyone that was part of here today. But yeah, so
Like and subscribe.
definitely make sure you and comment and rate it on iTunes. If you rate it 5 stars and we see it, we will talk about it on the beginning of the show. We're always going to do it, so definitely rate 5 stars on iTunes.
Please and thank you.
Well,
Alright.
you guys have a good day.
Too sweet.
We love you, bye.